Alrighty. What, am I here? Where am I? Where are you, Matzi? You're right there. There you are. I lost one of my gloves. It's really annoying. I'm gonna open my can and get started. But first, actually, I wanted to go back. There's a Bosch Fire song that's really cool. I want to go back to it. Where is it? Oh, no. There it is. Okay. Cool song. I don't know the volume. Hold on. I think that's okay, right? Well, it's a little loud, but I guess I should put it like maybe like right there. Ah. All right. Back to battles. When we last saw our heroes, I have a battle grid thingy that I've been working on. Uh-oh. Except something's broken. That's perfect. Why? I didn't change any code here. Okay. Hey, Burn. Quietish. Is it too quiet? Am I quiet? Or was the music quiet? Is that better? That louded it up? I'm not sure what this problem is. That makes me concerned. I like the music, though. It's a good music. All right. So this is the new battle system setup node. It's something I've been wanting to do for ages. I think I said this last stream. It's normally now. Okay. I guess I normally had it very quiet. Because the bars are at a higher point than I would normally have it. Maybe that's my problem with my stream, is I haven't had my music up loud enough. Other than, other reasons. So I've been working on the on-map battles, but I realized I had to do something I've been needing to do forever, which is setting up this battle mapping system, which is essentially a way to specify the positioning that a monster will show up based upon the position of the list of defined monsters. So like if this is the first monster in the list, they'll appear on the one spot and so on. And so it took me quite a bit of time actually to figure out how to do this in Unity, and quite a bit of arguing with ChatGPT. Oh, it's a bit loud for you? Okay. I usually try to keep it at like 30 dB or less. So like right now it's at... Actually, I don't know what it's at. That's loud. Hold on. I usually keep it about right there, I think. And so last week, I kind of figured out how to get the characters that are on the map to move to their battle points. Not walk there, but just sort of exist there. And then I realized that in order to get monsters laid out, I need to actually create a system for specifying locations. So I got caught up in doing this because something I've always wanted to do in Unity, right? In Smile Game Builder, they have a way to do this, which is similar. There's like a grid that you can specify where the monster goes. But I wanted our version so we could just do it in Unity. That's what I've been doing. I just realized I need to make a slight change because right now I can like put a number over a number, so that's not legitimate. So I'm gonna fix that real quick. Am I gonna fix it there though? I think I'm gonna fix it here because I also am gonna make this idea of like reusable grid stuff. Hey, Sorrow. I tell you a joke about the hat, but it'd probably go over your head. I don't have a hat. Went over my head. Didn't go over my head. Wait a minute. So, if we go to place somebody somewhere, Everybody needs somebody sometime. Everybody needs some help somehow. And source value. We just want to make sure that something's already set. We don't overset it. Right? Okay. So I'm making. So what I'm doing is. So this is the view of like setting up a battle. But these things are. I don't want to every time I set up a battle to like drag these things around. So I want some predefined mapping, right? So there could be some that are just like. Well, I don't have two anymore. So like that would be a monster slightly forward, a monster slightly back. Maybe one at the top. And these sort of things could handle any sort of number of monsters, right? If we wanted it. We put them in back and forth, whatever. And then the player grid, because we're doing on maps, this is going to be really, really more important, is being able to specify where the players go. Now, you'll notice I don't have a grid where the monsters and the players are in the same spot. And I don't think I ever will for this setup, because what I would end up doing if we wanted to have a monster and a player in the same area is I'm going to make a whole different way of specifying their positions, which will be just setting the point on the map. So those will be like fully custom battle. Hey, good boy. Yeah, good boy. Good boy. How's the world of cybersecurity going? Have you been striking out on your own these days? In the crowd or otherwise? Okay. So that's what I'm working on. Pretty snazzy tool. That's what my wife calls me. Wait. I hope. Yeah, well, so far, the tool itself doesn't do anything yet. It's literally just set up. And now I've also got to add the functionality to make it like first class data, basically. So that's what I'm working on right now, is the first class data portion of it. I don't think I can serialize. Can a hash set be serialized by... Oh, here's Wallaber. He's streaming. Forgot that I was lurking on his stream. I'll keep lurking. It's fine. I got plenty of download speed available. What do I want to do? I want to look for... Odin Inspector... serialized scriptable object. I don't know if it has set. Yeah, but the serialized scriptable object can. I don't know if it can do hash sets, but I want to find out. That's what I'm trying to look at. We'll go look at refreshable resolver. I guess I don't need to use a hash set. I like... Ooh, what was that? What just happened? Boom! Oh my gosh. Laser. Cool. 26 months? Oh my gosh. Thank you for the resub. Is it a prime? Oh, using your prime. I appreciate it. We'll just... I'll just... Where am I going to put you? Put you right in here. Today is the 23rd of July. Oh my god, it's the 23rd of July. I'm not nervous at all. Prime sub and the 26 month. Oh, 36. 26 months of support. I was laughing because I've been subbed to some people for over 4 years, like 8-bit Val. And it's like 4 years. It's been 4 years since I first subbed. I did spend 2 days on a break from the main system and spent it making a fishing system. It's kind of fun to do the mini game stuff. Yeah, it is. I I wish I could work on story and dev at the same time. I don't have that capability. I'm not able to switch gears in that way. So I don't think I can serialize the hash set. I remember having a problem with this before. And even though it says it can be serialized, I think it's lying to me. I think this is not possible. So I'll just make it a list. It doesn't... I mean, the only difference between a list and a hash set is a hash set ensures there's only one value. So it's like having a really efficient single key dictionary or something. It's like... Because it's basically... It's storing the hash. So you can't have the same object in there twice. But it doesn't really matter. And a list of this size is not really going to matter. I just wanted to do it my way because I'm lame. Okay, what was I doing though? I wanted to do... Oh, I needed to make... Oh, so I made that... This is so I know where the positions are that got played. Interestingly, I kind of wonder if I need to do something. How am I going to do this? So when we are able to drag and drop a position here, I'm going to make sure that we're not going to be able to replace one that exists. But I also need to remove the current one. So I think what I'm going to do here is then once I have found it, or actually when I'm here, first value is a battle grid cell. So we're going to do I have to remove it from the list. So we're going to say this dot... I don't know why it does that. I don't know why... Oh, shoot. I can't do it that way because this is static. Got to figure out a clever way to do this. It can't be static, so I'd have to be able to get the information from the source. Don't know if the draw element, what properties it can take. Let's see what this does. It takes draw element method. If that does not equal null, then the value resolver is going to be the property, the method, the drawer. I think we can get the information from the drawer. I think I can get the information from this, but that's a two-dimensional array drawer. Shoot. I don't know how I'm going to get that information. So the problem I have right now, the way that this drag and drop works, which I learned through pain and suffering, is I'm using this table matrix in Odin Inspector that creates a table that can put things in a 2D array and print it pretty. The problem is that this doesn't have any insight into the owning object. So I can't technically get access to the position data. This is saying, you know, the cell of the object, this is the overall grid. But the grid doesn't tell me the owner. It's just a 2D grid cell. And my idea was I didn't want to have to transverse the grid to get information about where things were placed. So the grid is helpful in that I can find an XY value of placement, which becomes an offset that I can use. And I can get essentially the coordinates based upon where it was found. I think. Can you traverse a 2D array? Get XY from rect? No. Rectum and barely knew him. I need to think a little bit about how I would want to get information from here. Because I have to be able to maintain that list of place items. Maybe what it really should be is we don't save the grid at all. I think what we need to do, I think we need to change around how we're thinking about how we all are thinking about this problem. Okay, you all need to reassess your thinking and stop being so critical about choices in life. So this is interestingly enough, like when going back and forth with ChatGPT. Yes, I use ChatGPT. No, I don't feel bad about it. Yes, it was painful. True, my bad. It was not pleasant because, especially with UI stuff, it'll say like, "Here's your solution," and it should work. I'm like, it's not working. It's like, "Oh, you're right. I need to make this change," and it makes no changes. It's like, okay, now it should work. I'm like, you literally didn't change the code. "Oh, you're right. I didn't change the code. Here, let me change it slightly." So originally I had this like battle grid position. The problem with it was sort of tailored to whether it's a monster or not. I don't really care what it is that it contains. So instead, what I'm probably going to do is retain for each position the XY, and then when we move things around, I use it to help me look for errors. Yeah, it's good at that too. I use it but here's the thing. When I don't have any idea how something is supposed to work, like using a table matrix or like, I don't know in Unity how I would have made this work. And it's because I've never solved this problem before. I have no idea how in the Unity editor I can create a grid-like thing I can mess with. And I could go and like study a bunch of stuff, but like it's just more painful to do that than to describe the problem to ChatGPT and have it produce a bad example that I slowly iterate to get to work. I mean, and eventually I got there. And what happened was, as usual, it gives me all this stupid stuff and is working and partially working or not working. And finally I'm like, okay, now it's time for me to read the code. And then once I read the code, I'm like, okay, I got it now. And I figure out like what it's doing, right? By observing, and then I can make intelligent change. I don't have a problem with that. I think there's some developers that don't like that idea. Someone like, well, then why would you even use it? Like, why wouldn't you just, learn how to do it and do it smart? It's because I don't mind doing that work. Excuse me. I think it's perfectly fine. I mean, I would have to do that if I went to Stack Overflow, right? Get some example code and then like pick it apart and figure out how it works. I'm writing everything from scratch. I copy my code, paste it, and then it tells me where I could have made a mistake. Paste it in, got it. I thought you were saying you're copying and pasting your code all throughout your code. Hey, Gavin. What's up, homie? How's your 3D model going? Your, it's like Knight, but Valorant type game. It saved me so many hours of troubleshooting. Yeah. Oh no! Don't drink and drive, kids. You shouldn't drink and drive. You know what? I have not whipped this out in a while. Trust me, it's not as exciting as it sounds. Actually, I'm not sure if that sounded exciting. I'm losing all my things. I need my shoulder brace, my back brace, because my neck is bugging the crap out of me. I don't know. I didn't even drink and drive. I just felt. Oh right, you were telling me this story. You failed a field sobriety test somehow, but they didn't actually prove that you'd been drinking, and it was in a different state, right? So you have to go it was like across state lines or a different city, somewhere that was not your local place. I remember the story now. That's sucky. Okay. Thankfully it's a Zoom trial. Well, you were driving, so I assume it's pretty zoomy. Oh, I hate that. Okay, this, by the way, also drives me up the wall. So the project settings on this, if I could ever emphasize just how bad my ADD is, I was working on a bunch of things today, and I was like, oh, I'm here. Oh, I forgot. Oh, I gotta do this thing. And I just kept doing a circle. I'd be like, oh, type here. Oh, wait, but I have to go back to this thing. Oh, okay. Completely unrelated topics. Like, oh, what about this thing over here? Oh, right. Oh, but I forgot about the first thing I was working on. It was pretty bad today. It was in high form. But you just learn how to cope with it. I was aware I was doing it, so that's good, right? Let's see. Is it an editor? Code style, I think. Okay. So this is the thing that annoys the crap out of me. So we have test methods, all other methods, default pattern. So we have, I think we have properties. There we go. So we don't want properties to be down here. I think interface implementations are fine, but properties need to be up above. In my opinion, they need to be up above. But wait, where? Static fields and constants, public enumerators, delegates, test methods. Like, why is there why is there unit? Those are unit test stuff. Hold on, what is it? So non-reorderable type, reorderable types, entry display name fields. Okay, constructors. Screw you. My properties are going right there. Okay. So then when we clean up, I just break it. Come on. But move. What? Come on. I just changed the order. I swear I just changed the ordering. Didn't I just change the ordering? Driving up a wall. Well, it says, I had an important work meeting that had to be rescheduled. Jeez. Driving up the wall is not recommended. That makes me kind of mad. Yes, that would make me mad too. Doing everything and nothing at the same time. I just roll with it. Sometimes it happens. And I think that the interesting part about the medication I take is it allows me more time to focus on individual things at a time. So even though I'm jumping around, I'll get onto something and I'll at least finish the thought. Whereas when I am in like high form ADD mode, I'm just all over the place. Okay, so this is for indexers. Hold on a second. No, that's right. Okay, so why is the constructor showing up? Oh. Because we're talking about General C Sharp, not Unity. Properties and indexers. These need to go above constructors. Is this fields? Yeah. Above constructors and below fields. I'll live with it. That's fine. Okay. There you go. Drives me nuts. I had gone through the entire template and completely organized it how I wanted so that when I hit that cleanup method, it puts everything in order. And then I succeeded in a failure sort of way because my IDE wasn't syncing the settings for some reason. I figured out how to fix the sync, and immediately all of my settings got reset. And I was like, I was really unhappy about this fact. Okay, so I also think I do want... I don't really care about whether the XY is set. Hey, Luth Wang. How are ya? Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it.
It's a dragon.
It is a dragon.
It's a dragon, and he's got a face.
Good old...
And he goes, blah, blah, blah. I'm Matzi. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, no, am I forgetting his name? I know his name. It's right there. On the tip of my tongue. Ionometry. There we go. I miss the ionometry. That's my experience with meds. Eventually I stopped because I couldn't do the task I needed or wanted to do, but at least I was doing something. Well, my problem is that when my ADD is in full swing without meds, I actually get tired. Like I can't function. I even the smallest thing affects my executive function and I'm not able to do something I really don't want to do. Whereas on the medicine, I can do things I don't want to do and it's okay. Okay, so we have an XY value now. So here's my thought. I'm curious about the roadmap on Discord. Is it still current? No, it's not. So Luthwang, I can give you a rundown that we will more publicly announce. Thankfully, my stream is not hugely attended, so I can start sharing some of this information. Hey, Don Ho. But I can show you some things. I'll show you some things. Just, what's a little ADD between friends, right? So we have a roadmap. I'm not going to show you the roadmap, but I'll show you some other context. And in January of this year, we reached out to our publisher because we were talking about road mapping, and it was clear that our publisher wasn't going to do the things that we needed them to do in our agreement. And I want to make this clear. Our issue with them, or what happened next, is still amicable, but it was clear we needed to move on. Unfortunately, to unwind our agreement was a 6-month effort. So until July 1st of this year, we were in a termination process with our publisher, which meant anything that we put on our plans for road mapping we just threw it out the window. We had everything laid out, and we were going to share it with everybody because I want to have more public road mapping. But nothing that we planned could stay on course because a good chunk of our time was spent in all the discussions with the publisher and what was needed, and termination terms and back and forth, and it's a pain in the butt. So I can show you some of the things we have in our backlog, but incidentally, I think there's a lot of these are actually fixed because we're going to be pushing out a release soon. Why is my back? Oh, I see. Because we had even gone and we set up August, September, but we just cleared everything from it. Because we can't even deliver on this anymore. So we have 63 visible issues. Why is it not showing? Can I just show everything? Let's see. Oh, I see. Because it's only showing bugs. I was really confused why it's only showing. They're supposed to. Okay, yeah, this makes a whole lot more sense. I was like, where did all my stuff go? Unwinded. Yes, we've terminated. We no longer have a publisher. So you can see here some of the stuff that we have in our list. Story-based things that got behind because publisher. There are confidentiality agreements we can't talk about. I can talk about us unwinding our agreement because we're going to have to publicly let everybody know. But if you want to have a sense of all the things that we have in our list here, this is a pretty good insight into the total scope of planned work to finish our project. But I'm happy, Saro, if you want to hit me up on the Discord, I'm happy to have a chat with you. I'm pretty sure I met you guys at PAX and I've been checking it on and off. And what you're describing, I feel like I've heard on Timothy Kane videos when I talk about nightmare of business side of video games. Yes. Don Ho, I saw you. Hi. I'm good. I should talk to you offline. I mean, I should talk to you offline too. But there's a lot of change happening in my life right now. And, when we went to PAX last year, we had a goal of getting the game launched by the end of first quarter or second quarter. Rogue Phoenix, yeah. I don't know if that publisher's as well known though. That way. Unless they have like a huge bankroll. Don Ho, I should like Discord you some things. There's some stuff with like the day job that might be shifting for me. Alterium shifting. I'm excited for your announcement. Looking forward to what you both accomplished. Thank you, Luthwing. We are going to be at PAX. So we're going to be at PAX this year. We are putting all of our money into, not all of our money, but a lot of money into having a 10x20 booth. And I just messaged the contact we had today, the sales guy, and he got us, I think, a really good position. PAX West. Yeah, did we meet you at PAX West or PAX East? We're going to be at PAX West. We're going to have a 10x20 booth. And as long as we get the booth that he told us we'd get, we'll be like in the ARC building on the path to the indie section, but like right before it. So like basically just right in the middle of all the traffic. So we'll be there. We're going to have all sorts of screens. We're going to have the game. We're going to try to have some updates available to play if people want to. Use fat finger close to... Sorry, PAX West, correct. Don't fat finger your browser. And we will do announcements about, what's to come. Because we're finally exited from the agreement with our publisher, we are now having to regroup on what we're doing next. And there's some unfortunate aspects, which is, we have to remove our localization from the game right now because the localization is what the publisher did, and because we're terminating, they're taking the localization back. We do have to, get rid of any publisher-related marketing material that they created. Again, none of this is bad. Like, I really liked working with the people on our team, but I think it just was clear that what we needed and what the game needed wasn't what the publisher was able to either provide or interested in providing, right? And it happens that way. And I think a lot of times when people have publishers, they just kind of suck it up and deal with it. But we didn't want to do that. So instead, we tortured ourselves for 6 months in just a long process because, first off, our publisher is very respectful, but they have their position and we have ours. So we propose one thing and then they counter-propose and then we counter-propose and we go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And eventually we come to an agreement that we can settle on and move forward with. But all of that stuff, especially because our publishers in Japan, took a long time. So when we're able to have a better view on our roadmap and what that's going to look like moving forward, we will be publishing it. We will be communicating regularly. Puddle Jump Creative. Browser keeps crashing on me. Cripes. Wait, is it Luthwang? Are you a puddle jumper? Wait, what do you do creative? What is this? I don't see a lot of June. You did it in June 2019. What do you create? And the wrong username. So are you still Luthwag? I don't know why I called you Luthwang. Sorry about that. Anyhow, so there's a lot more detail to it, but that's sort of the gist. I mean, you also maintain customer integrity by not abandoning the IP. Cool that you're putting so much effort. Yes, Puddle Jump created me. I switched browsers and logged in. Oh, Don Ho. Okay. 1,000 points. Thank you. Thank you, Rogue Phoenix Games representative, providing support to the little guys. Let's say is the 72334. Thanks, Killboy, for the 1K biddies. Bitty bits. Video crashing, rebooting. Oh no, my video? Reboot that baby. So yeah, I mean, a Luthwag. I will say that rarely, if ever, did our publisher have an opinion on the work we were doing. So they never tried to dictate what we delivered. They supported, and they were supportive of. They had because the way the publisher was structured, they have a parent company. I think that there's just some conflict between what our publisher wanted to do and what the parent company wanted in their direction. So that inherent conflict made it harder for them to support us the way that we needed. Like I said, we really liked the people we worked with. They were fun. They had a good sense of humor. They're Japanese, so not all of them spoke very good English, but we had kind of some fun with the language stuff, just in terms of communicating with each other. But the benefit of our termination is that we don't have any hold on us, which I don't know if I'm supposed to share that, but it's important that people understand that it was a good separation, amicable and clean. And they're going to go their way, and we're going to go our way. We're going to wish them the best on their projects. They've wished us the best. I don't wish them any ill will. I hope that they find success in what they're doing. And we're going to move on. But it is really important to us that we provide what we should be providing to the customer. I'm sure whatever reason for having leave are justified by your creative goals. Sometimes it's just business. It is business. Yeah. It has nothing to do with artistic direction. It has everything to do with what we felt was needed in order to support the growth of our product and the marketing aspects, and to make sure that when we launch the game, we're doing it in a way that hits some of the key things we needed to hit. And so it's a very much of a business thing. The other thing is Jacob's my partner on this project. Jacob and I really have done a lion's share of the work. And it's almost, it's absurd to think, but we went back and tallied up the hours we spent on this project since we worked with publisher. And between the two of us, we have about 8,000 hours. Well, now it's like 10,000 hours. And if we count the hours before the publisher, it's probably like 15,000 hours on this project. We would work until 2:00 at night or later, and get up early. I would get up early for my day job every day. Every spare moment I could squeeze in, I would take week-long vacations, and I would just work on the project. And I don't care who your publisher is, unless that publisher really buys into what your product is. They're not going to put that level of effort in. And we realized that we were doing a lion's share of that work. We started working in the beginning of 2021. Shopping for another publisher, maybe. We're going to PAX. We have talked about some potentials. If we did go with a publisher, we would want somebody that was local, like US local, because I think someone that is within the US market would know better how to sell a game like this. Someone that has an interest in the genre, and someone with much broader reach and audience. How many years? Big mode. Yeah. So you guys got me talking instead of working. This is, I actually don't mind it, but I'm just acknowledging. So it's been quite an experience. I can't gainsay the way everything happened. And frankly, you know, like our concerns that we expressed in January weren't new concerns. We've been kind of going back and forth with our publisher since we launched early access. And so they kind of were aware that there were things we needed that maybe they couldn't supply. And I don't think our publisher themselves, like GGA, who they are in Japan, I don't think they had any lack of desire, but they just weren't able to get there with some of the limitations they were working under. So it has been a very interesting experience, but I don't know if I would say I would have done it any other way. Maybe. I mean, knowing what I know now, I probably would. Now, like, okay, if we have a game that is getting the traction our game was, we would probably shop around publishers more if we were going to go with a publisher. They are much better. Browser kept crashing when you said you wanted to DM me later. My username is Donho. I think we're Donho connected. Yeah, we've talked. Oh no, I sent you the name of my brother-in-law, but you didn't respond to me. I'll just wave at you again. You never responded to my message. My bad. I saw your stream and wanted to pick your brain about the state of the game. Oh, I'm not complaining. It's okay. I've noticed that when I try to start working, everyone stops talking. So it's like I have to decide if I work or I talk. It's not like when Wallaber is streaming, I always bring him up. He can work and people are talking to him and he's like ignoring them. And they're still talking like they want his attention. But I'm like, ooh, talk to me. Tell me everything or ask me questions. I remember during the demo, PAX being really impressed by the sound. Yeah, the music is done by our composer, and he's amazing, and we're still working with him, and we'll be getting some more stuff from him soon, hopefully. Well, soon as in within the next couple months, I hope. We're going to have an interesting setup. It is very interesting for us to do these events because everyone sets up their booth differently, but in our view, the whole point is we want people to play our game. So we get as many screens as we can fit into the booth size we have and put as many machines up with chairs so people can sit. And then we just, encourage people to come play. Yeah, a few months ago, we were talking about your brother-in-law who worked at the same place. You were wondering if I knew him, but I didn't want to dox him. Did you say, I don't remember if you said you knew him. I'll text you what I was going to say. I'll text. I mean, I'm not going to be able to talk about it right now, but you did not. Okay. I couldn't remember. It was so long ago. So anyway, it is, what was interesting about the last 6 months or 7 months, I guess now, is once we hit this point of saturation where I could not invest more of myself into the project with the uncertainty of what was going to happen with the publisher. And so, ironically, though it did delay things, I think I kind of needed it because I probably would have just gone kaput in the last 6 months if I was constantly running at the pace I was, because I hadn't stopped. I mean, I have a day job and I run a lot of things in my day job, and trying to do that and working at night, I mean, it was a lot. And I would skip things like hanging out with family sometimes, and my family was very, understanding about it, my kids and my wife. But in the last 6 months, I've started spending a little, I've been spending more time with my family, and I don't regret that part. I wish we could have more done in the game. I wish we were doing more and getting more done, but I can't really change. I can't really change where we have arrived, and I wasn't going to invest a ton of time into something if there was uncertainty about what the next thing was going to be. Would you consider expanding the team if you received a budget for it, or are you committed? No, I'm not. So I'm not committed to small teams at all. My day job, I'm a chief technology officer for a small-ish company, about 60 people company. I believe in building teams, but I know that in game dev, I'm finding that it's actually hard to do that because you kind of need people that are interested in the project too, and there are so many different types of projects. That it's hard to find people in game. Like, my standards and expectations of coding are different. We do have a contractor that does some work for us, so I've been engaging him to do stuff, and I have a contact that does some QA, so I'm engaging her for some stuff, but all that stuff is coming out of pocket right now. I mean, we have some sales, but this is going to be the first time where the sales actually go mostly to us. The publisher was taking a cut before that, so there's just a lot of things monetarily that have been a lot more difficult to handle. I don't remember where I was going with that. Oh, I mean, hindsight 2020, it seems like it's an exciting time for your development. I think and hope so. Yeah. I mean, the thing that is hard for me, and I've learned how to deal with it. So, like, at my day job, I spent 3 years as an interim client services chief. Even though my job as chief technology officer, I spent 3 years managing a customer service organization that was twice the size of the department I used to manage. So effectively, I've been at my company for 7 years, and I have run 80% of the company. And what I was getting to about what's hard is that even though I worked in customer service, I want people to like our game, and not everybody does. And I want to address everybody's problems, and I can't always do that. And there's bugs that are bugging the crud out of me that I want to deploy right now. But if I do, then they'll create more bugs because we haven't fully tested things yet. So there's this internal pressure of me wanting to appease people who are playing our game. I want people to like our game and to play it and enjoy it. I don't want them to be upset by it. I don't want them to think that we're not trying to support them. But it's just challenging because everybody has different opinions on what should be proper support. And I don't really care about sometimes I get annoyed by negative feedback, but I don't respond to it negatively. I usually oh, thank you for your feedback. Yes, here are some things you should know, blah, 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 blah. But it's still it still hurts. I still have feelings. So if you haven't done so yet, wishlist that at AS. Thanks for the purchase, by the way, Luke. Did you see the beta version, by the way? You guys know that there is a beta version of the product, right? I know it's early access, so there's an early access beta. And one of the things I just recently realized is that we don't spend enough time in the community boards here, I'll show you guys this, actually. So you see this? Last update, January. Is this game dead? It's on Steam. How do you own it? Did you get it from itch or something? So is this game dead? Just wondering. And I'm like, here's a Discord. And someone's like, well, I don't ever use Discord. Oh no, yeah, the beta's on Steam. So I was going to show you this. Hold on, where is it? So what I realized is we do need to do more with the Steam pages and stuff. So here's the thing I was going to show you guys. So we have a beta. It's in our Discord as well, but I realize not everybody uses Discord. So how do I share? How do I share a document? Share a button? Do I just copy this maybe? Do that. So there's an EA beta version. We call it beta because it's where we put things when we're not yet ready to push it to the early access. Because I'm leery about breaking things for people. So essentially, when we're ready to start getting some updates out, we put it in the beta, and there's a ton of updates in here. There's a ton of bug fixes based on feedback we've gotten or QA testing. The save system is better. It's infinite saves right now, which I don't know yet what we're going to do about that, whether we want to limit it or not. There's camera shifting. You can like zoom out or shift the camera left and right, up and down. There's some other features. I can't remember all the things that we added to it. But we don't push straight to early access because we want some time to test. But we want to allow people to get in and test it as well. Oops. Spelled Friday wrong. Thrift day. Don Ho, you and I have the same problem. The meetings all day. My Thursday, I go into our office, and this is the only day I get up early for work. I get there before 7:30, and I have meetings until 6. So, like, I literally spend 11-hour days at work, and I think I spend 20 minutes eating lunch, maybe 30. But it's only my Thursday, and it's my choice because I'm the CTO. I'm in charge of the group. I'm back in my technology group. I'm in charge of the group. But with the pandemic, everyone's been mostly remote. But I was like, you know what? It might be useful if we have a day out of the week we all show up. And then once I realized I made that commitment, I'm like, well, I don't want to drive in traffic, so I'm going to leave early. So I get up at 6:20, which is so early for me. And I truck my way over to the office and like, while I'm here. Yeah, shutting the door really keeps people out. How do you even pay attention by the 8th hour of meetings? I don't have a problem with it. I mean, the thing is, like, not every meeting requires my direct and full attention. So I have my laptop and I'm working on other things, essentially, right? I've really learned how to be on a meeting and listen to what's going on and then chime in when it's necessary. But the other thing that I truly strongly believe is important as a manager, executive, whatnot, is to get people to be able to handle problems without you having to interject all the time. I think it's more important to allow people to struggle and make some mistakes and then jump in and help them than to pre-direct all the things that are happening. And at this point, my development team, the QA team, everyone's just really strong at our company. They don't need me directing everything. And when it is needed, I'm all over it. But I try not to do that very often. Multitasking meetings sometimes happens. I use meetings to delegate. Yeah. Finally finished the initial mock-up of fishing. Yeah. Are you going to show how? You want me to play it? You're going to show it. Instead of direct, just course correct. Yeah, that's a good line. What do you do for a living, Luthwag? When you are a manager, C-level, it's more about creating and communicating strategy and then delegating and empowering others. Well, yeah, I mean, I'll tell you some things about that. That's my philosophy. I don't think my philosophy meshes with everybody at the company. And it makes that hard. I mean, I don't mind meetings, but I also think that if you feel like meetings are getting too much, you find a way to trim them down. I do think that you need some kind of pulse check. So daily stand-ups, especially for devs. I don't care if it's 15 minutes, just some touch point So you're forcing people to communicate, especially because you're all remote. Well, we're all remote, except for Thursdays apparently. But I think like some people don't like the idea of, oh, we have to have a meeting where we're checking in. But I've always seen it useful. I think when it's not useful, I try to stop the meeting. And I've had a meeting ages ago, before the pandemic even, I started a leadership meeting that was originally with like, it was cross-departmental and included executives. And I was like, well, let's just start meeting. And whoever can show up can show up. And then other people wanted to join. So like, I didn't invite everybody. I got a small group. And then other people caught wind that, oh, can I be part of this meeting? Because there's some value to it. But then it reduced to like directors and below and a couple executives. And I started feeling like it wasn't very useful. And I kept trying to extract from it. It's like, no, we want to keep doing this meeting. I'm like, okay, I can't. I created a monster. I mean, at least they put it to every other week or something. But it was just so funny. Like, I was the one saying, let's stop doing this meeting. And they kept saying, no. We should keep doing the meeting. Whatever, man. Fine, I guess. Do what you want. Why is it? Okay. That's super annoying. Can I do dot? Maybe I can just do dot index. Maybe that'll work. That'll probably be okay. If I break something else, I'll just fix that. Right? I was a bartender for years, but I career swapped to being a nurse. Oh, cool. That's our pandemic 3 years in. Well, thank you for your service in the nursehood, because OMG. It never works when there are no C-level strategy and you are not empowered. Yeah. Well, I'm a C-level, but I'm not always empowered. Right? And so I'm a C-level at a small company. A larger company, I'm a director or something, right? I mean, at this point, I could do at any level, whatever the size of the company, because I realized the way that scales up, you're still managing a small group of people, but those groups are just managing larger groups, right? And like, even though there are some matters of scale where, like, if I were managing a group of 200, the complexity of that problem would require me to learn some things about how to disseminate information across a broader scope. I'm less worried about that if I had to do it, because I've seen executives. I mean, I've worked with people who have worked for Fortune 500 companies, and I can tell you that at that level, they're really no better than your average person. Some of them have some skill, like some of them are lopsided. They have skills in specific areas that brought them to their level, but everything else they're weak in. But they're strong enough here that they're able to sort of get by. Unfortunately, those people also have these egos that make them think they're good at everything, right? Other people are Peter Principle victims. So they never really got great at anything, or at one point they were good, and then they just got promoted upward. They failed upward. They weren't bad enough to get fired, but they weren't good enough to like stay in their role. or they were just good at like social engineering themselves up to the top, right? A lot of those people, every layer they moved up, they lost ability until they get to a point where they have none. And if you were to try to get them to do some basic aspect of their job where they truly had to own it, you would see just how bad they were at it. And some of that isn't even like their fault. It's like the way our system works, like the sort of institutionalism of larger companies, because they just don't have an opportunity to practice certain skills because they're in meetings all day or whatever. And so what happens is, even if they had the skill, it atrophies. And then when they try to re-engage it, they forgot how hard it was. And it's like jumping into cold water, right? Like it's a shock. And some of them can get through it if they have to. And other ones, they find clever ways to get out of it. I am completely, what is it? Soapboxing? Is that what I'm doing right now? I'm in my soapbox, baby. Y'all got me soapboxing. Don't know why I'm talking like this. but I'm going to talk in my soapbox voice. I see the same in engineering. A great engineer may not be a good manager. I mean, that's almost 100% true. In fact, I don't think you should have a great engineer be a manager. I think you should, unless that person has aspirations for management, you should coach them into being an individual contributor, because those people will be more happy doing big complex problems than managing people. And the other thing that people run into in this case is, in my experience, the perception is to really move up in your career, you need to be a manager. And there's some aspect of job security. I think it's easier to not only get paid more, but maintain your position if you get into good management roles. Weirdly, even though there are times where companies will lay off all their middle management, I still think it's easier on the management side to move upward. And it's harder on the individual contributor side to really shine in the long run, because the pool of really senior individual contributors is much smaller than managers. But if these people are only happy with doing individual contribution, you don't want to force them into management, because they'll do terrible at it. And I always have that conversation with people. I'm like, well, what do you want? Do you want to be a manager? Let me tell you what it's like to manage people, because managing people is not solving these problems. Well, I really like solving these problems. Okay. Here's the scope of influence you will get to have as an individual contributor. Here's what you need to do. You got to be like the expert at everything. You got to be the one everyone wants to go to. But you also can't be the one that we all depend on to do everything, because then you'll never move anywhere. So you got to balance being the one that knows everything and is able to solve problems really fast, but also is able to at least support the coaching of and leading efforts for things. Like, no matter what you do, even as an individual contributor on a high senior level, there's team leadership you've got to do. You're not going to escape that. You don't have to manage people. You don't have to have HR reporting, but you're going to have to go to other people and talk to them and work with them on a project. Even my job as a nurse, by my bartender background, for noticing changes in people, like years of gauging how drunk people are, my skill set in de-escalation makes me more effective role than long veteran nurses. Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing that gets missed. You guys totally got me. I love this though. This is my favorite. I wish I could do this. I should just do streams where I just talk, but I worry that that's less interesting for some reason. The thing that I think a lot of junior people run into. Let me look at Joe. Not trying to sound like a poor me, but management leadership is often. Yeah, it is for sure. Good managers often think this, especially. Yeah. So what I was going to say is, a lot of people don't realize when you are presented with something that's not part of your job and you're able to achieve it, if you decide to take on whatever it is, whether the company acknowledges it or not, you're building your own skill. And so in my career, I have always jumped to things that were beyond the scope of my responsibility. I was willing to take on leadership of different groups. I mean, I ran a freaking client services organization, because even if I know I have a skill gap in certain areas, first, I know I can learn it, I can improve. And second, I have now enhanced my skills and my marketability. And a lot of people don't think about that. They don't realize that a lot of people are afraid, like, it's not my job. I don't want to be responsible. I don't want to get in trouble. There's a lot of and this is also probably a Minnesotan thing, because I'm in Minnesota and there's some of that going on here. But it's like, people are afraid to put themselves forth, because if they fail at it, they're afraid they're going to get fired or yelled at or whatever. And so therefore people back away from responsibility, and I run towards responsibility. I think that's where you should be. You should be in a place where you're taking ownership of something and finding a way to solve it. But not everyone thinks that way. And to me, people who want to be management, you've got to do that. You've got to be able to step outside of whatever the boxes that you feel you've been placed in and grow. And to your point, Luthwag, you pull on experiences from other areas, And not everyone realizes that those experiences have value. Even if you sucked at it the first 10 times you did something, if you try to do something new, you'll have a leg up on someone who is unwilling to try that. Kind of a life tip thing, I suppose. The technique of being peacemaker and not point maker is a key to having a successful team. Yeah, I mean, the real problem, in my opinion, about good management, and I would say this assuming that I'm good at management, I have been told I am, but I'm not trying to be egotistical about it, is if you do the inverted triangle or pyramid, whatever, the inverted pyramid is that the manager is more like the servant, not the boss. So instead of you directing everyone, you have to do my way, blah, 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 you're supportive, you're questioning, you provide ideas, you gather interest, you convince by influence as opposed to directive. And if you do that right, it's going to look like everyone else is doing something and you're not, because you're pushing other people to do their thing. So it's hard. I've actually run into this a couple times in my career where my leadership didn't realize what I was actually doing, because I would lift other people up. I'd say, you need to go do the talking. I'm going to put you forth to be in front of these people and speak, and I'll support you. As opposed to the other way around, the point maker, as Don Ho's saying, is the manager that gets there, wow, look at all these things I did with the team and we got all these things done. You know, like the person that sort of brings themselves up based upon how they brought success to the team. And it's not, I mean, it's just not important. And then part of it's easier for me to say that because as an executive, there really isn't a lot of direction for me. I'm a chief technology officer at a small company. There's not any more upward mobility unless I wanted to like run a company, which is not my most enjoyable thing. So I don't have to have an ego either. Like I don't have to prove myself because I have. But even if I were in a brand new company, I would try to do that because I just think it creates a lasting and better outcome than if you're directively telling people what to do all the time. Don't get me wrong, I still do that sometimes. Let's see. Minnesota, you betcha. Let's go fishing in the boat. Oh, better get those worms there in the bait shop in Lindstrom and Chicago Lake there. Don't you know? Wow, I'm glad you wrote it that way because I could actually try to do the accent. Ever read book? No, I have not read Servant Leadership. I've read The 1 Minute Manager and the Phoenix Project and some other one. I don't really like reading management books. Sometimes I just tell people what to do. I do that as well, right? I mean, like, you know, at the end of the day, there's a balance. You can be a servant leader, but sometimes you just gotta lay down the law. And I've had to do that when it was clear that nobody is going to be able to arrive at what's necessary. And you just gotta like, okay, we gotta move forward, right? So I'm gonna make the call. What's interesting though is if you do that, hey, Nightfall, by the way, welcome. I'm not working, I'm just talking, and I'm happy with that. Well, I'll try to work a little bit, but I'm not going to focus on work. When you do the servant leadership, here's another fun fact that happens. I have it no other way. Some people take that as permission to argue in situations they should not, which I've had. I have had problems with that. So I've had issues where like, okay, now I'm going to tell you all, this is what we're doing. Why? Why are we doing it that way? That doesn't make any sense. And like, guys, I'm going to pull the CTO card. And I'm going to say, we're going to do it this way. And because I don't typically do that, everyone acts like not everyone, certain people have acted like I'm breaking some cardinal sin. And the guys, listen, I understand. I've given you opportunity to arrive at an outcome. I'm seeing you both still struggle on the same problem. So I'm going to say, this is what we're doing. There's no argument there. You're going to do it. And we're going to observe the outcome. And if it's not working, we'll change it. But, you know, someone like want to argue it at that point. Like, no, we're not doing that. I don't have patience when things are obviously aren't working. Yeah. I've learned patience, but yeah, I don't always have the most. the funniest thing we did at my company, I went from managing a customer service org back to running my technology department. And they do Agile Scrum pretty well overall. But due to some of the ways the startup company was, like, there's still this like overly granular attitude on how points are managed. I don't know if everyone knows what Agile Scrum is. But the idea, ostensibly, not really adjacent to what you're talking about. I was told that in-house tools aren't a thing for big game studios. Aren't. Yeah, probably not, right? Because you use tool. So velocity, right? People are bad at estimating things. Just in general, they're bad at it. Every once in a while, you get someone who's just really good at estimating things, but it's not a thing. Developers are terrible at estimating things. So you say, how long is it going to take? Oh, it'll take about a day, and it takes 5 days. Right? And so somebody took the Agile Manifesto and built on top of it this idea of estimating using points, just random numbers. The points are made up, and the game doesn't matter. Or wait, the game's made up, and the points don't matter. Many years ago, I had a VP and director asked, how can you increase your velocity? I said, sure, we double our points for all the stories. Literally did that at a large company that makes vehicles. That is hilarious. Well, you're going to laugh about my point here. You give me nightmares about trying to create game development deadlines. Do you do game dev as well? Wait, have you been here before? Were you talking about how you were a nurse and trying to get into game dev and you're like taking courses or something? No, can you just follow? You haven't been here. No. Someone else made me think about that. So anyway, the idea of points is that you just relatively say what you think the complexity is based on a number. Someone used the Fibonacci sequence for whatever reason. 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and above. And they said, just pick a number that feels right to you for complexity. And that's literally the way it's supposed to be, is like, okay, here's the project. Here's the work that has to be done. How complex do you think it is on a scale of 1 to 13, let's say, or 1 to 8? And then you pick a number, right? Obviously, the higher the number, the more complex it is. I'm not talking about time. We're just saying it feels really complex and difficult. Okay, it's an 8. And you try and get some consensus on what that number is. And you don't care, like, you're not supposed to care what those numbers mean. You're not supposed to. Everyone I've known who estimates, they use it as a time indicator, which is not supposed to be it. But what the whole point of it was, is just to get people working, in my view. I think my interpretation of it is, they're just trying to get people to get work done in manageable units of work, a chunk, right? And so the common thing is a 2-week sprint. So in 2 weeks, you do X number of things, and that's how much velocity it is. That's how many points it took. So it could take 50 points, it could take 100 points. You're not supposed to care. Whatever the numbers are, you just get the team working, and in every sprint, you do the same exercise, and you just see what that number averages out to at some point. Because at some point, if the team gets used to pointing things, they get in a rhythm, and they start pointing things roughly about the same. They all, the complexity is supposed to converge, and you get what's supposed to be a consistent velocity. And that's how you gauge how much work can get done in a time. Everyone freaks out at 13. Oh boy, we have to split this up. I made an Agile bingo card for meetings. I should find that. I'll bet it would go viral. So here's the problem with points. Everybody wants to use it as a concrete definition of effort. And when I say effort is like how many hours it takes to get something done. And don't forget burn down charts. I like the idea of burn down charts, but I've never seen them work. The way you're supposed to use this stuff is not as this concrete indicator. Even velocity can fluctuate because people are on vacations. You add or remove people, so you have people think of complexity differently. It's really just supposed to be a rough gauge so you can get some kind of cadence. Because what I think is really important in software development, or even game development, clearly game development, I'm really valuing the work I'm doing. What's really important in development software, or even just project work, is consistency. It's getting stuff done. That's what is the most important. Not saying how exactly long it's going to take. Having a rough idea, being able to break things down in a way that you can kind of understand roughly how long it will take, because then you can create a cadence that you can somewhat plan on. It's not to do what the waterfall method is, which some people would argue they would prefer over agile or some other method, which is waterfall is like, I'm going to plan the entire project up front. We're going to do all this work here, all the planning work up front here. We're going to create, a concrete plan, and we're going to deliver to that plan, right? But the problem is that usually waterfall projects are long running, and it's impossible to estimate in real time. Like, it's really impossible to estimate how long something's going to take. And that's where I think that the idea of agile was supposed to address that. It was supposed to be this, be less concrete, but continue to be, focused on improving and delivering and course correcting over time. Used to be agile coach and used to teach design patterns, eventually went against the grain. Last project for management, I threw Scrum out the window. I don't mind Scrum. I don't like the way a lot of people try to use it. I think if you use it lightly, I think it's fine. But frankly, Don, it also depends on the team. Some teams like it for the structure. Some teams hate it because of the structure and the ceremonies. The ceremonies of regular meetings and more meetings and planning, this and that. Yeah, they're like, not everybody, it doesn't work for every team. But I don't think it's like, don't throw it out. But it's a great sort of like structure to build off of, but don't. So let me get back to the point I was making, because I just spent all this time explaining Scrum. But before I left the team to go to the client services office, we had a fairly well-functioning Scrum process. It was, we were pretty good cadence. We were able to estimate effort and deliver. There weren't a lot of bugs being introduced into production, so most of the work that was being done were new features. It was really nice that it was being done well. And I am a person that believes stand-up should be short. Get your point across. Tell us if there's any major issues. Tell us if you need help. If you need to have a discussion, either move it after the meeting or some other time. Have after topics for those who need to stay. But if you don't, get out of there, right? 30 minutes or less at most. 15 minutes ideally or less, depending on the size of the team. I don't like meetings that run long. I want to keep meetings to the cadence that we are supposed to set. Everything was running well, but when I left the group, I realized after 3 years, what is the word I'm looking for? It's like hardening up. Like there used to be a lot more elasticity with the way I would run agile with the team, and the way I'd sort of push people to kind of think outside of just doing what's in front of you as a structure. And slowly the team got more and more rigid. And their estimation was like, they would sit there for 15 minutes arguing if something was a 3 or a 5 or a 3 or a 2. They would literally argue about the most pointless, ironically, thing. And I would listen to these meetings like, why are you guys arguing about this? Just make it a 5. What is the point? Go get shit done. You don't need to spend all this time arguing about, the fine-grained detail. And before I even came back to the team, I was kind of catching wind of some of this. And they have a really weird situation where a ticket can't be closed, can't be considered done until it's had testing. So, and I think that might be part of Agile, but the way that it's set up is like, burn down charts are just non-existent in that case, because testing never happens right in line. And, they'd estimate things and they would get them done at the last minute, so there wasn't time to test it. What is the point? And so before I left that group, I had a vision. This is one thing about me. is that I really like to come up with the absurd ideas that, like, they're so stupid. They seem stupid to me, but then the more I talk about it, I'm like, oh, we should just do that. like I look at a problem, I say, this problem is so absurd. Let me come up with an equally absurd response to it. And then I'm like, oh, actually, we should just do it that way. And so even before I left my group, before the pandemic, I think I was listening to some arguments about points. I said, you know what? Let's just use a rule of fives. Make everything a 5. Why not? Everybody hated the idea. I didn't enforce it, but my thought process on it was, why are we spending so much time being so fine-grained with our estimates when they don't matter? And there's some aspect that kind of matters, but like, it just doesn't matter as much as people think it does. Unfortunately, at that time, everyone was so upset by my idea. So I'm like, I'm not going to press it. However, I came back to the team and I'm like, I'm hearing the same arguments. And before I came back to the team, they were like, oh God, what were they doing? They were like splitting tickets. So like at the end of a sprint, they didn't get the work done. And at first they were moving the tickets. So then they would take all this pointage that they did work on in one sprint, move it to another, and they would get these velocities where it's like, oh, I got 20 points done here, but 80 points in the next one. These just massive swings. And the reason for the massive swings was because of testing. It had nothing to do with, like, most of the work was done, but testing didn't get done. So you would effectively like mess up tracking the work because testing didn't get done properly. What are you delivering when you were delivering, and how confident are you on the date? And not confident is an acceptable answer. It attracted everything to the right level for management. That works too. I'm proposing, but I don't like. I'm okay with structure of like, estimating things by sprint. Like, if I'm high level estimating, I just make phases of sprints and say this is going to be about this many phases. The one thing I've learned is like the way of structuring it. It's become pretty accurate for us. But regardless, I came back to the team. I'm like, guys, you're having the same problem. Oh, well, we're delivering more consistent. No, 8 months ago, I said, why are you moving the full ticket when you did most of the work? Why don't you just split the ticket or something? Right? Like, you did some work. You handled complexity in the sprint. That is velocity you manage. So make a copy of it and either adjust the points of the one you copied or just literally move those points and get it done. And it did level out the velocity, although I would say there's probably some hiding of velocity problems there. But the point was, it just didn't matter, right? Like, work got done or not, but you move stuff off. And so I came back to the team. I'm like, guys, why do you care so much about whether something's a 3 or a 5? Well, we got to be specific. Like, you know what? I propose the rule of 5s again. Oh, Luthwag, thank you again. Good luck on the nursing stuff. And yeah, we'll try to get an update out. I'm meeting with Jacob on Thursday night, so we'll be planning our communication to everybody soon. The team's on Udushu Scrum, and it does work well. So I said, why are we doing this? And I didn't think they would buy into it, but everyone's like, yeah, that's right. And like, the more I talk to them, they're, well, we need a 3. Why do you need a 3? Well, because then we'll know that it's not quite as complex as a 5. And why does that matter? Well, because then we know exact velocity. It's like, why does a 3 or a 5 make any big difference on the work you can get done? Well, and so they switched it. They went to 1s, 5s, and 8s at the time. I didn't like the idea of using 8s because the way this team operates, an 8's what we call a 13. You would think of an 8 as something that would take an entire sprint to get done. And those are the ones that always got split. Ironically. Not ironically, because you would expect that answer. So they would say it's really important that we pointed accurately. And I say, why does accuracy matter? Because it's better for our velocity. It's like, no, it's not. Your velocity's all over the place. Look at your velocity the last 6 months. And so once they eliminated 2s and 3s, and it was working, but we kept having the problem with 8s. And so finally I got them to drop the 8s. So now everything is a 1 or a 5. And to what Don Ho said earlier, it has increased the velocity, but what's actually happened is the velocity is stabilized and nobody cares as much. And I would ask questions about work and people would get so wound up about, well, this is going to be this way. And like they would worry about every little detail. Like, stop thinking. Give a point, start working. Wholeheartedly agree with what you said, Knight. So pragmatic. All right, Dono, sorry. I y'all got me monologuing, and that's fine. I should probably have gotten work done. I've literally spent 2 hours talking. An hour and a half, I guess. Maybe I'll start working. You're welcome to ask me more questions, though. Nightfall, do you have a day? You have a day job, right? I thought you worked at a library or something. Or am I thinking about somebody else? I don't even remember what I was trying to do. To go back to my code. Oh, I do. I remember now. I have to use like coordinates, right? So what I was thinking was I need to push the coordinate into this thing. How was I going to do that? These things, this shouldn't need to be serialized. I think I just want to show it. Show in inspector. Very warm right now. I need some kind of... I'll just deal with my warmness. Maybe I'll turn my fan up. Anyway, if you're just listening in, I'm working on this part of the battle system for the on-map battle. Well, it's any battle system, but it's just basically a way to have monster placement that then gets associated with the actual battle. And we can even set like the center of the battle, or it'll just be based on where the character interacted with the monster. Basically. So I'm... I imagined I would be a little bit further in refactoring things, but somehow I got talking about management things. So I don't know how. Weirdly, people started talking about stuff. I don't really like using is monster grid, but I think I need some distinguishing. So let me think here. My thought process was that I would not update. Okay, I would move. What I would try to do is move things. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Okay, so then what I need to do here, this is the point where like you drop the drag. I need to be able to set the XY value based upon where it is in the grid. That means when we create the grid, we need to set the grid position. I guess I do need to give it like an XY. Thanks, Copilot. Appreciate it. I'm gonna have more problems here, but that's okay. So we're gonna give it index 0 and back. Why for the Salt Lake City for the week? Oh, convention. That's cool. Single dad in it, baby. But your kids are a little older, right? They're not like little ones, but a little bit less challenging? Question mark. 9 and 12, yeah. My eldest is 11 and my middle child is 8. Youngest is 4. She's on the verge of being much more maintainable. Once she gets into the 5-6 range, it'll be much easier. But she's pretty easy now too. But like, there's still 4-year-old things to deal with. So this should be okay, and my place positions are fine. So once I've placed a position, I'm not going to ever what am I not going to do? I'm not going to do something. Okay. So when I drag and drop, I'm going to literally move the object. The unpaid limo drivers, you have like lots of sports and stuff, right? By this age, there must be tons of sports. Is that a Santa cap? Kappa clause? So the value and the source value. These are the two things we want to change. And so we'll do value dot x. What? No. We don't want to do that at all. We don't want to change the indexes at all. We want to change the xy values. So what do I want to do? Whenever I get on the kick of talking about work stuff, I forget how to re-engage my programming brain. I've seen you, like Don Ho and you other developers out there, you guys just jump in and start coding. I don't know how you do that. You're just so smart or something. I have to like read it and then process and then think about what I was doing and like reestablish all the context in the back of my head. I'm such a slow coder. Yeah. It's hard to do it while you're talking. What are the statistical odds that we physically walked past each other before? Really? Where would we have walked past each other? I guess we've gone to Como. Yeah, I don't go to State Fair a lot. I don't go to Costco. I've been to Como with our friends. Our friends go there. They live near it. But I don't go to Como a lot. You're more likely to statistically walk past my wife. Shopping centers. I don't think we go to the same shopping centers. I live in Highland Park area. Not to dox myself. I live near the airport. I think the statistics are not quite... More likely I drove past you than walked past you. We just went up to Camp de Nord in Ely. So I probably drove past you on the way somewhere. Yes, Highland Park. Why? What is that question mark about? Do you not know? Do you not know where we are? Did you not stalk me already? What are the chances you walked by my house? Probably not very high either. What am I trying to do? I want to make sure that the indexes don't match and that the index of the target is 0. That's fine. This value represents the new object. This is the old object. I need to move this into the slot that this one is taking up. I don't want to do anything with the indexes, so none of the indexes are actually going to change. Instead, I'm going to go to grid value xy equals source value, and source value xy equals value. Thanks, Copilot. I'm so glad you understand me. And then I also have to set their value. So source value. I think I should probably just... Should I use a point? Instead of giving an XY value like this? No, because I'd have to split it anyway. So I might as well just do it. One way or another, I'd end up having to do this just more work because I'm using a struct. So this should swap those objects around, I think. Then none of this will none of else this other stuff will matter. Yeah, right at 35 in the Ely zone. Got my camera cover. Uh-oh, what's this? Oh, it's, yeah, okay, we'll comment this out. We don't need this anymore. We don't need you. Do we? No. It's gonna suck because for a minute I had a functioning thing that I broke, but it's because I'm not gonna use this in this place anymore. Like this thing doesn't even need to happen. Add monster. Nope, we're not gonna initialize grids. There. Okay. So now we have this object set up. I should be able to build it while we're doing that. I thought you lived outside the city though, right, Donho? You said you lived farther north. White Bear or something? Every once in a while I'm driving around that area. Not often. And I'm like, oh yeah, Donho. We've gone somewhere that's up near there. Like a jump place, maybe? Up 35. Harding, Newfoundland, went to Johnson Parkway Elementary as a kid. Taylor Falls. South of Lindstrom. Understood. You live a little bit outside the city. Jacob wants to maybe move to Minnesota, but housing is expensive in Minnesota. It is absurdly expensive compared to Texas. But Jacob lives in Texas, and he's like, oh, you know, yeah, I mean, it's not bad to have a house here, but my gosh. And where I live, the neighborhood I'm in has increased in value and maintained value. And there used to be a Ford plant that they've turned into like living space. And I think that when all that stuff really starts picking up, housing values around here are going to increase a lot as well. Okay, so I need to get this game battle grid data into my nonsense. Do I want to make... I don't want to do this, but I'm going to have to do this. So I'm going to have to go to the game editor. I'm going to add... I need to add something for battles, for the battle grid. But is there anything else I might need to add for battles? We have battles in like actor, and we have it in script, like battle commands. I don't have like a battle section. I could add a battle section. I don't feel like I have to. I don't know what else I would. Oh, did it not build? Why didn't it build? What is this? Battle grid cell drawer. Oh, I don't need you. Let's get rid of you. I think I'm going to have to add another thing. Yeah. Oh, you go to the base camp. That's cool. I drive by that all the time. All the time. That's like the Boy Scouts thing, right? I've always wondered what it looks like. It looks pretty cool. They have like climbing stuff in there and ropes courses. Looks pretty fun. Yeah, I mean, the West 7th is near us. I like being where we are. We do sometimes get the air, like we hear the planes, but it's not it's not like the places where the planes are always flying directly overhead. So while there's times where they redirect the routes and we can hear them more, it's not really that big of a deal. It's a pretty nice spot. Getting to the airport is like 10 minutes max. Probably more like 6 minutes or something absurd. Going to the Mall of America, piece of cake. Let's see, how do we use fishing data? Off of Randolph, okay, yeah. You know, we live in the same neighborhoods. Kind of. Oh yeah, well, let me take. I don't want to say it out loud, actually. So, text instead. As a bit too close to doxing. We're getting too deep. I mean, we're not. I can't be too many people hanging out. Narrowing it down. You're welcome to come visit, Tom. Stop on by anytime. You are welcome in our home. Okay, so how do we do this? We have fishing rod data. So this is the object initializer. This is the thing that creates objects. Listen, I need to borrow some money. Okay. How much you need? Keep pushing those boundaries. Okay. You know, my biggest problem is making friends. So people get... Listen, I can invite, like... The funny part about it is like, oh yeah, you know, be careful. Like, listen, I will be like, Tom, come to my house. I can be deadly serious. You'll never come. Hey, Yolan, how are you? I don't just give money out like that. If I had a lot of money, I might do that. I'd be like, sure, what do you want? I don't really think that it's important to hang on to money tightly unless it is going to affect your own life. But, you know, if you really needed it, man. I got an inside line on ponies. It's a sure thing. I can be your friend for a few hundred. I don't need to buy friends. I can just... Why pay for friends when depression is free? I'll be a better friend for just 5 installments. Okay. That should give me what I need for those. And then I go to object initializers. Create a new one of those. But wait, buy now. It's just 4 installments. It'll be just 4 installments. Wow. Can I just buy it outright? What's the interest rate on that? It's okay. You guys don't need to be my friends. I'm not against it, but you know, don't feel like you have to get paid for it. uh It's a little annoying whenever I want to add an object, but it's a pretty consistent thing to do, so. Right, that's how I did it. Okay. We basically made a whole new data object. I heard it's a new gig. Buy internet friends. I feel so lonely. Yeah, well, I don't know about buying friends. You can buy follows though. I haven't got one of those tonight. I think you just brought what? I don't know. I'm reading that. Memories. Okay. Where was I? I was here. You are here. Okay. So this should give me the object, and I think even the game editor I should be able to create. Right? I think I could even do like something with the name. How do I do this? These are the things that initialize the object. I believe I could do a new line. Maybe. Yeah, I should be able to make a new line, but I have to like encapsulate it. Won't you be my friend? I think the thing that I've realized though in my life is that the internet's great because there's a distance. I'm a hard person to be a friend with. Sorry. It's not that I'm not nice or I don't want it. It's just, you know, I think I'm not always someone interesting. I'm good in small doses. Yeah, like, you know, I've met new people. My wife makes friends with everybody. And she's like, "Oh, you should meet these people too." And I meet them and like I don't have any interest in talking to them. Or we don't have shared interests enough to talk about it. And so like I just think that the shared interest isn't always there. I think like given that y'all talking to me without even talking to me, I'm sure we could have plenty of good chats. But you know, general being around in the world where I'm at, I don't find that I have the same capabilities as my wife of just generally making friends. I could like play the part. I can be friendly. I can be extroverted-ish if I want to be. I'm 43 years old. I'm less interested. You need coding friends. Those who tell you when you're doing something wrong in your code. No. Give me a boat, a kayak, a buddy, a fishing pole. See? Don, you're a perfect example. You would not have any enjoyment hanging out with me. I don't like any of that stuff. None of that stuff is interesting to me. So we went to Ely to this YMCA camp called Camp de Nord. And it does have cabins. So we stayed. I don't like sports ball, nothing. We have cabins, so it wasn't like completely without. I would completely be a glamper, right? At first, I thought we wouldn't have internet, but it turns out our cabin, because it was like a shared family cabin, somehow was able to get the Wi-Fi that's supposed to only be available at the food dining hall, which I think is because it was over like the kids' daycare for the camp. So like I'm content going to a camp and sitting in a cabin for a portion of the day working on my computer. I'm totally fine going out and walking. I don't really care about going out in the water. I didn't want to go paddleboarding or canoeing or anything like that. And for most of the people I know, they're like, why, you got to unplug. You got to go enjoy things that aren't technology. I'm like, I relax with technology. That's what I enjoy. Why would I go somewhere and force myself to do things that I don't enjoy as much without getting my fix? I'm not going to relax. It's not vacation for me. Yeah. Okay. So I've made this revelation before, but I was talking to some of the families we were working with there, hanging out with there. And I was reflecting because my wife went on a night hike with my son, my 8-year-old son. They said it was only going to be like an hour or something. Hour total. It turned out to be like 2.5 hours. And she says, like, I didn't know if I could make it. The long, hiking up the hill. And the thing that it made me realize again is that I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps. I've been on long hikes, 25-mile plus hikes with 200 pounds of gear. And I made it. There's no question for me on whether I can do it or not. And when I got out of the Marine Corps, I remember distinctly thinking, hey, now that I have all this experience, because I was in the infantry, we camped out under the stars all the time. Like, now I can just go camping whenever I want. I have the ability to do all these things. Do you know what happened? I did none of it. Do you know why? Because I am not an outdoors person. And I accept that about myself. Yes, I can do it. No, I don't want to. And I don't gainsay people who enjoy it. But I just found it funny, like this realization that, yeah, 1,000 years ago, but it's not 1,000 years ago. It's my partner's very outdoorsy. I'm like you, the complete opposite. I have the capability to be outdoors. I know what it's like. I like to be clean. I don't like to have dirt all over me. I don't like to have bug bites everywhere. So like I try to I don't like sunburns. All the things that I experienced in the military. I'm covered head to toe in some sort of weed like poison ivy for my last trip. Yeah, well, the mosquitoes up north are terrible. And my son has allergic reaction. He swells up, like he had a swollen neck and he couldn't move his neck. It was so bad for him. But the mosquitoes were terrible. And I try to avoid them all, and I got lots of mosquito bites. I don't like that. I like comfort. I don't mind being around the outdoors. That's why I like glamping. Like, I'd be perfectly content going somewhere where I have some time to be on my computer, but then yes, let's go do things outdoors. Well, I got a mosquito bite on my arm now. It's itching. Because for me, when I'm working on something, I have to stop when I accomplish something. I'm not one of those people that keeps working after I accomplish something. I hit a point, and then I'm like, okay, now I need to do something else. And so I'm okay. Like, I'm okay with doing some work outside. Not so I'm okay with doing some things outside. Sometimes. How do we do cam modify data? Oh, I'm manageable. So then we're gonna do. We have 30-foot camper, no slide out, nothing fancy. It's also convenient and fun to go camping in. Yeah, see, like if I have amenities so that like there's like a decontamination zone, I'm happy. Whatever it is, I'm fine with going to a cabin. as long as there's some basic functions like a toilet and a shower. I just don't think, like, some people enjoy the idea of not having some connection to modern amenities. Like, there's a joy of camping in a tent and having to do the rustic stuff. It's just not me, man. Just not me. Never has been my entire life. Not once. Not now, not ever. Yeah, right. Okay, so this is where I need to figure out why this is doing this. Positions. Why is it not? I copied and pasted the same object. It's not drawing it for some reason. Is it because there's no space for it? Maybe? But there's width here. Horizontal group. Wonder why it wouldn't be drawing it. This is not... Oh, I think I know what the problem is. It's not being initialized. Okay, so I need to figure that one out. How do I do that? I think it'd be like on... Awake? Oh no, I think it's awake. So when we awake, we'll do initialize grids. It'll add data to it if it doesn't exist. I like individuals. I just don't like people. I like modern amenities. Are you saying you like modern amenities like you like individuals? No. I like my modern amenities like I like individuals. They're not people. But I'm also not like I don't like fishing. My dad tried to get me interested in it. My dad tried to get me interested in golf. At some point, I just realized that it just was never something that connected for me. And it's okay, you know. You don't have to be into everything. So maybe I just need to make like a regenerate button or something. And I'll make sure I call initialize grids so that it happens. Oh, I don't know if I'd have to figure out like monster versus non-monster. So maybe I will do battle grids separately. That might make sense. Don Ho, I like you sending me history of Minnesota. So I grew up in California. I didn't get the Minnesota experience. It was really funny when I moved here to listen to all the, Minnesota, like Minneapolis, St. Paul, even though it's like 4 or 5 million in population in like the Twin Cities area, it really feels like a small town. And when people talk about growing up in Minnesota, they sound like small town people, even if they grew up in the city, even if they were, like there's so much in the city, but because of the way the residential structure is laid out, it feels like a lot of small town wherever you go. Which I really like because I grew up in a small town. I grew up in a town that was less than 100,000 people. Now they're like 102,000 people. They finally made it. Okay, what was I doing? I wanted to do a change to how the battle data state works. So we need to do battle grids. I think what we'll do is do like monster battle grids and player. Does that make sense? Does it make sense to separate them? It would visually make more sense. Yeah, 3K population is like nothing. It's the kind of place you live now where everyone knows everything about you. 200 is even worse. Well, like, I think there can be advantages and disadvantages, right? Like, smaller town populations necessitate more connection because it's not a big city. But it can also exacerbate certain problems. Right. The advantage is everyone knows everyone. Disadvantage, everyone knows everyone. I knew that was coming. Exactly. Nailed it. Okay, so what we have to do, I think. So we'll default it to monster battle grid. And then we have to go to the initializer. And what we'll say is if we'll do that. Not the most exciting coding. I do feel justified in not getting as much done tonight because I was talking a lot. Please stop. It's a funny character. How's it going? How's Dark Cloud going for you? I don't even know what that game is. Sounds dark and cloudy. So, how do I make sure one list versus another has only the data I want? Right now, I don't have a way to like limit the list. I don't think I've ever tried to do this thing before. Can I limit the data? As a create instance, so we do like a build. Get menu tree based on the editor state. It's a PS2 game. I've never played it. Things are going okay. Lots of change happening. Been starting some staring at the same C code on and off for the last hour. Okay, I see code too. I see code. There. Can't see my hand. I've been staring at the same block of code for a while too because I've been doing some work. You can blame me. Tom! Hey, it's Tom Sutton. Just so you know, I have a friend, an actual friend in the Twin Cities named Tom. And someday I'll hang out with him again. He's one of those friends where like we get to hang out every couple months to 6 months, and then we just spend 3 hours catching up. You know, we eat dinner, we catch up, and then I go home. And that's our friendship. He tells me all the shitty stuff that's happened in his work or the good stuff. I tell him the same, and then we move on. Okay. So we have a problem here. What are we gonna do? I need a way to filter data item. I have Tom, I told you, you're invited to my house. Don't think you'll ever come to Minnesota, but see, this is why I can't make friends. I was at a real friend named Tome with a cat with T-O-M. Muck, bang, and ketchup chat. That's what this is. And I'm okay with it. I'm getting a little bit of work done. I don't know where the mustard is. I think I'll do that later after the stream. I think my Shitsky is sticking. Oh, I thought that was a way. Well, I think from now on you should just call him Tom. That should be his name. 11 out of 10. Dad joke. We always have the dad joke come in. How did the lazy pilot pass his flying test? He winged it. I don't know how that flying. Okay, so I have a problem in that I made one data object that represents two data states. But I want to separate them because one represents players and one represents monsters. But the data is functionally the same. And the only difference is like how it gets filtered. So I could make a subclass that literally just sets this value. I guess I wouldn't even need to set the value then. I could just... I don't want to do... Can you make a constant virtual? No. Override a constant. How do I want to do this then? Just... I could make a subclass just for the fact that I want to separate it. Or I could find a way to filter it based on a value. I suppose... I don't know. I mean, this is really not the most ideal. I could... What can I do? It's really because I'm trying to work on the system that I built, right? I mean, technically I can do anything I want to do. So basically what... I made this battle grid thing, but I realized that because there's like a monster grid and a player grid, it might make more sense to have two tabs, which is fine. But the way that I set up my system, the game editor doesn't have any distinction between the same object. Perhaps make the class general and have two instances of it. Well, it's not, it's the way that I set up my game database is the problem. It's not because it's not possible to solve the problem. It's that when I was making this quote unquote game database, I came up with a methodology where I define a game object that lives in the database, basically. And it's intended to be the one object is the thing that you load. So all of that type object shows up. Did you now? Well, you're both from Canada. Did you work together like in the same location? Because that's true friendship. This is like the game. Oops. This is the game database, game editor. And this shows all the different things, but it's not really designed to have the same object in two different tabs. It's designed for every tab to be one object. You know what I could do? I have a better idea. Do I have a better idea? How did I do the maths? I think I can make this. I think I can do this without doing it the way I was thinking of. Let me see. Go back here. I want to undo this stuff. think I can do this though. Okay. So instead of making two different tabs, I can also do, I can see if I can do something like this, where I give it, the one just has like player grids and monsters. That's really cool. So Stoff, tell me what Tom was like to work with. I hear he likes to get things done. I gotta remember how I did this. Game map, no. Yes. So how did I do game map data? I think what I did was I had a category. Okay. I think that's what we have context. Okay, so it might be category that I use. Oh wait, this is having an issue. There's some other editor I was using. What else do you want from me? Blood? What other editor thing? I don't see an error. Yeah, show me your problem. Oh, yeah, I'm stupid. So, how do I do this? Category? No. Is it the name? Maybe I did it by the name. Tom's great to work with. Knows what he's doing. He's a good dude. He seems pretty good. Would 10 out of 10. Would work with Tom again. Menu tree, draw search toolbar, try get value, blah blah blah. Did I use anything that represents path? That's what I want to know. Object, okay. Object at path. There it is. Path. Where does this path go? Got it. I bet I made an I menu tree item. No. But that's game map data. Game map and story graph. Is that what I have here? Nope. Yes. Okay, so this is right, but it's not how I did it. How did I do it? How do I live without you? Maybe the maps themselves have the path in them. So if I did like here, category is summiton. It's got to be using the category, but how do I use the category? Relearning my own code. I have this feeling I did something where, okay, build path, that's what it is. So I need to use build path as my method. Boom. Problem solved. Problem I created is going to get solved somehow. Apparently, animated television for children is dying. Well, children are dying, so that's probably the reason. So maybe it will work. What do you mean it's dying? Well, it could be because the market is so flooded with it that they're like not lacking for choices. But my daughter was watching Paw Patrol the other day, so I'm just saying, still a thing. You guys want to see something? Speaking of mini games. Yes, Monty, please tell us. I'm not even gonna ask Jacob if I can share it. I'm just gonna share it. Probably builds. It's the creative industries in general that are suffering. Yeah, I mean, especially with the AI stuff. Oops, that has music. Let me see if I can figure out how to share this. Oh, doesn't like it. Maybe we could download it. Download. Here we go. Save. Didn't mean for all that to pop up there, but who cares? Move on with my life. Let's see here. Download. Here's what I'm going to share, and hopefully the music is not too loud. Mini games. Whack. Work in progress. It's not done. Whack. I don't know how his minigame is supposed to work, but there you go. And not doing what I wanted to. Why is it not rebuilding it? I wonder. Let's see. Build path, path name. Path should work. Nice. Maybe I'll build path. Title, build path. Represent data path for displaying in the game editor menu trees. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to work. Yeah, path. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to work. So it's wonder why it's not doing that. It could be because the path didn't get built. Okay. So where did the build path get called? That's what is this? Okay, so it just didn't get called. Okay. Understood. When the overall economy turns south, creative usually are one of the leading indicators. It's not gonna. Everything's gonna be fine. I think what I'll do is in my battle grid data thing here, I will do a. Can't do initialize. I'll do a Unfortunately, I'm kind of breaking some of my own rules. But... Okay. So we'll build path. We'll initialize the grids. That should be fine. Oh, I can't call initialize grid. And if I do it over here, we don't need it to be elsewhere. And then I can go back to my game editor. In here, and we'll do that. Should give us what we need. The one we have here needs to go away, which I got a way to delete. be bad for a bit. I mean, it, you know, like anything, it recovers. Things will get better. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things are gonna get brighter. So, Stoff, you reconsidering coming up to PAX this year? No? So the only problem is I'm gonna have to do something that like I can change who or what it is. I said Stoff, but Don, you're welcome to come too. Oh, I'm so glad it's not working. Perfect. The other problem we're gonna face is that the position PAX in Seattle. Although there is also 2D Con. 2D. 2D Con. Yeah, I guess. So I think the one problem I'm going to face here is that like, which direction does it go? The left-hand side is supposed to be the front because the players are on the right-hand side, at least in the case of the grid. So let's do some stuff. First off, I think what we have to do is add to the left-hand side. Where is this? We'll do a another option. Should do it a property, I guess. Public string left. Hey, Griffin Blade. How are you? Holy crap, I have no plans. Are you going to go to 2D Con? Don Ho? We'll be there. We'll have the Alterium Shift booth. You're welcome to stop in. How are you, Griffin? How'd your stream go? It's your birthday weekend. Oh, you should probably find something better to do than that. Oh, you're totally free. You're welcome to. I don't know if going to 2D Con's like the ideal birthday relaxation thing, but it's a pretty small event. They're actually capping it. I think it's crazy, but they're capping registrations at 5,000. You think like a small event that wants to grow wouldn't want to cap registration, but stream went well. Did a bunch of play testing and found a ton of bugs. Compare that. Dragon Spirit, what are you doing? How are you? Everything's doing amazing. Everything's going fine. I think. Perhaps. Something like that, maybe. With 200? No, it doesn't need to be 200. We'll do 100. No, that'll work. Hey, Sparky Shot. How's it going? Going well. Here's the game I'm working on, Alterium Shift. I'm doing the boring stuff now, and I'll blame my chat because earlier we were talking about management and agile development and life. This was definitely a night where I ended up doing more talking than working, and I'm okay with that. I'm just saying that's what happened. Oops. I guess I shouldn't be messing with the group visibility state. I should mess it with here. I took a job as the head of McDonald's farm. I'm now the CIEIO. Good one. Lots of talking tonight, but it's a good time. How's the project going with the Godot and all that? I think you said it was going pretty well, right? I did not forget dad jokes. I just try not to scare people away. A neutron walks in the bar and asks the bartender how much. The bartender replies, "For you, no charge." The neutrons, right? They don't have a positive or negative charge, just in case you're wondering. Although Unity charges me for my time in waiting for compilation to happen. He sent me another video. Godot porting has been a ton of fun and really nice. We're working on a small project with Unity tools in the meantime, so that's where the focus has been. Small project. We're like 60. Is it like a game jam? So the build happened, but the grid did not show. But we have the front thing. Okay, so let's go back here. Kind of a stupid way to do UI, but whatever. We've been on about a year. So what? It's an RPG, but is it? So it's not tactics based? Oh, what is that? No, it's exact. Oh, okay. Got it. You said that. You said new characters and concise story. So is it just like a an offshoot story experience? Okay, so this is fine. I'll just do that. Fine. I don't care. We'll just do it this way. It's kind of a stupid way, but I just want to have a way so we know where the front of the battle is. Although I don't know how I want. Well, I'll worry about that. I'm going to make an update method for when you change the monster type. It looks like WoW because it's WoW. Little side story. There'll be some parts back and forth in the main game. Are you gonna? So it's like a small game you're going to release and sell, or just what's the purpose? I'm just curious what the purpose of it is. I guess. So yeah, so we changed the is monster grid, so on change. Actually, do it here. That's cool. Like inferred it, but didn't do it. Okay. So on value changed. We're gonna do build path. We're gonna do initialize grids. And if I do initialize grids, we'll say the problem is if you switch it, it's gonna like change everything. Do we want to do that? I don't think we want to. What we'll do is if the place positions are wrong, we're gonna do this. If place positions dot count is greater than max positions. What is take? What does it take? What is this? I've never heard of a take method. There's a bunch of ideas for small side stories. This will be the first many. Are you going to release it on Steam? Or is it just going to be like a itch.io thing? So there's more of this than the max number of positions. I think it should be less than or equal. The max positions is... no, count and max positions will actually be the same. So if count were 3, max positions would be 3. Amount of items. Oh, that's cool. But I don't want an amount of items. I want to clean the ones that are greater than the count. There might be a link way to do this. But take 5. You can't take 5? Sure you can. It's All the Best Video. I grew up in a town where we had a video store called All the Best Video. And they had a take 5 deal. Stuck in my head for the rest of my life. Position, let's see. So then we don't want this at all. So index equals max positions. No. Index is going to start. Yes, actually. Let me think here. The actual indexes start at 0 from the list. So when the max positions is 3, the count will be 3. So we would want to actually remove index 3 and above. Correct. Correct. Okay. And actually what I want to do is like remove, I don't even want to remove at, I want to do like remove all, where e.index equals the actual index, not even index plus 1, because this will be actually no, it'd be index plus 1, right? Yeah, I think so. This will like clean out the option. So this will initialize it. It'll clean up if we have too many extra. Let's see what happens. What we can break. You get a drink and chill. Thanks for the raid and have a good lurk refresh. It's after 11. I really shouldn't still be streaming right now. Yes, Dragon Spirit, I was talking earlier about how we went on vacation last week up north in Minnesota to a place near Ely, Minnesota, and the mosquitoes were brutal. It was not fun. I don't like it. I still have mosquito bites left over from that. Not fun. Did not like. 0 out of 0. Would not recommend. What was I going to do? I was looking at the rebuild. Let me see. Rebuild menu tree. I guess I'd like to force the tree to rebuild. Does my game data manager have an instance? It does. So what is my rebuild menu tree? State changed. I guess I just set it to true. Force menu tree rebuild. That is a Odin editor window thing. That'll work. So I could do that. Game editor. Even though it has to know about why is it because it's only in the editor namespace and I can't do that? Probably. Well, I mean, I'm the only one using this crap, so whatever. So if I check this box, I like how this goes back and forth. It's supposed to be on the other side, but whatever. And the numbers clearly are not right. But then it becomes monster instead of player. I love Ely so hard. I've never actually been to Ely. The place, the Camp the Nord place is like you turn off before you get to Ely. And on our way back, like we considered going to Ely because I was down to like 50 miles on my tank or something. But to do it, you'd have to go 28 minutes in the wrong direction. And I was like, no, we're just going. It's fine. The car will be fine. And then we're getting down to the point where the car stops reporting on how many miles we have left. And my wife's getting really nervous. We ended up getting, just in time, not just in time, but plenty of time getting to a gas station. Okay, so this is the battle grid. Numbers are not right. They need to be 0 to whatever. And this stupid thing is not good. But okay, so I'm gonna need a way to like reset the grid. I actually am curious why this stupid thing stuck to it. Don't do that. Don't run out of gas. It's not good for you. The mouse is stuck because it didn't drop properly. I need to have a fail-safe where if the mouse is up and dragging's not happening, like if all of this dragging indexes does not equal null, then we say else. We'll just dump all that shit. Done with it. That'll work. Oh, so you ran out of gas, but you just coasted on in. That's good. My son's best friend moved to Ely. His parents own brewery, Hammerheart Brewery. They had a place in Lino Lake for quite some time, reopened. Well, like, what's crazy about Minnesota, and I think probably anywhere, you go through these small towns, and they're small towns, like 15,000 people, and they got a lot of stuff for being a small town. I mean, how many car dealerships are out there? How can you have that many cars to sell in a town of that size? Doesn't make any sense to me. Lino lakes? You're lying about there being no lakes? What? Don't know why this isn't generating the list. But... Okay, so we have a little bit of a problem here, which is it's not populating now with numbers. That's the initialize method that's having a problem. So it seems like we're creating this part, but we're struggling with this part. So how important is it for me to retain what's there? This should only remove it if it's greater than. I don't think that's the problem. I should look at what place positions look like. We'll do... Oh, the index is not saved. I'm a dummy. Okay. That might be part of the problem. We're not saving the stupid index. And then what I'll do is shove this crap into like a... Maybe a list more? Let's try that. That might just help it visually show a little better. No, just south of your next career path. Canada. Go up to Canada. I'm going. My wife tried to sneak over the border while we're up in Camp Nord. They sent her back. They don't want her. Kidding. Didn't happen. Okay, this is gonna work or not? Yep. Still surprised it's not generating the list. Wait. Why? Oh, right. I forgot to make the position. More builds, more fun. Don't get me started about how I was not allowed to leave Canadian soil on my second last trip. You weren't allowed to come home. What do you call a typo on a headstone? A grave mistake. That's why you shouldn't take your headstone makers for granted. I don't know what you call them. Okay, this is something special. Let's see here. We don't want it to be 50. We'll do like 150. But it's not. So none of these have indexes. This is part of the problem. I should probably just like create a new set. I should be wrapping up right now, but I blame Don Ho for making me talk earlier. It hurts me to say this, but I have a sore throat. Actually, pretty legitimate. Oh yeah, you should go crash. I'm gonna crash soon too. I'm just gonna see if I can get this stupid thing kind of working. We're gonna just remove all those things. And then we'll regenerate. Okay. So at the very least, if I were oh come on. The mouse is up, but it's like still drawing the stupid thing. So I think I need to do a check on the dragging. This is mouse down. if dragging index, if the mouse isn't up, because we don't want to deal with this crap. The mouse is up, right? If it's not mouse up, because otherwise it'll draw the stupid thing, the stupid box. And then the dropping is not working. Indexes to, these all say 0. Oh, 0 is the first row. Got it. And that's 1. Okay, so this is a better view too, so it looks better. Why, however, is it having issues with the placement? So when we do a drop, dragging index does not equal null. What? Was I on the wrong place? Where did I put my else statement? Did I put it in a different location? Oh, I did it here. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so this should, yeah, I probably need to put the else if after this. I don't know why this keeps getting lost. Is it, I guess it's not because I'm not serializing it? I guess I have to see. I didn't want to serialize this stupid freaking array, but okay, fine. Serialize it. Have a good one. We'll talk. Don Ho, sleep well. Say hi to your Ukrainian buddies out there. Looks like Jacob actually posted the thing that I was talking about. It doesn't refresh the index properly, and then it doesn't replace them in. That is kind of, I know how to fix it though. No, I don't. Why is this not working? So it should be placing. Should be placing things in there. Why? Let's see. So the max positions is going to be based upon the number of either max players or max monsters. That's fine. Then it's going to do an indexed list. I thought this is how this would work. If it doesn't exist there, we only want to add the things that are missing. So I guess what I could do is say not this. I'm not sure how all works. My IDE complains when I do it this way, but this is probably better for me. So index equals 0. Let's just go. Put the foot long and slippery. A slipper. So slipper. Much slippery. We'll see if I can at least get like the stupid boxes to show up. I don't know. I could delete it and recreate it if I have to. know why it's not doing that. Let me just make a new one then, I guess. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, so there's a new one. Let's see if I can move these back. Can't. Moving them doesn't work. Uh-oh. Kind of got stuck there. It's interesting, like when it's outside of here, it like somehow gets stuck. I had this working great in the node, but it's not working in this context for some reason. Why is it not working? How am I not myself? Okay, let's look at this. So this is the grid. When we have a mouse over the rectum, I hardly knew him. This should be triggering. Maybe except drag has to happen at the bottom. I have here. No, I accepted the drag here. So what else could be going on here? Well, let's put a debug state point here. I don't think it matters where accept drag is, but one more build. This is it. This will tell me exactly what's wrong and everything will be great. This kind of UI work is super obnoxious because I'm not really making anything in the game that anybody's going to use, but I got to have something that's usable for setting up battles. I had what was working. I should have just tried to get the positions to work in a battle. Maybe by Saturday I'll have that working. Work. So it's not even triggering. It's dropping it, but it's not triggering the space that it dropped on. Which could be that it's not getting, there's like not an object. No, there is an object there. What is it? What is our limiter here? Mouse over rect, that's fine. Dragged index does not equal the value index. That should be fine. Source grid needs to be the same as the grid. Oh, I'm an idiot. That's fine. Got it. It helps to not be an idiot. Just if you guys are ever wondering, the simplest solution to most of your problems, just don't be an idiot. Okay. I'm not totally certain that's going to solve the problem, but I think it's because I did this set generic data to null, it might be nulling it out before it's being checked. I hope that's the problem. No, I thought Nate was streaming right now. Drop 3 to 0 at 2, 3. 4 and 9. 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's finding the spot, but it's not figuring the next code. I don't think I need to know about the rect, in fact. Because I have the coordinates. Source. Okay, that's my problem. I could have sworn before I started it was working, but I must have done something like revert my changes. Because I think the value is the current target. Right. We have to check if they're not the same one. We want to check that we're on the right grid, and we want to check to make sure that this is 0. This index has to be 0, because that means we can place it. Well, it says the drop was successful. It lied, but it did say it. Try to convince me it's okay. Don't lie to me. Do I need to do like editor utility set dirty grid? No, because the grid is not a might this I can set dirty this maybe? No. I think I might have to set something dirty, but I'm not sure what. The grid is a serialized object. What are these values? I can set those dirty because they're not scriptable. I'd have to set the object we're working on as dirty, but I don't know how to get the reference to that. It should still change the value though, right? So this is the object that we're trying to move. And this is the value of the target we're hitting. Oh, because I'm dumb. Okay, hold on a second. So I need to do... See, I told you, just don't be dumb, and you're fine. Best solution to anything, just don't. I had to put the X and Y somewhere else. Now it's going to work. Totally. The waiter at the Italian restaurant I went to wished me a very heartfelt goodbye. I said to him as I left, that was the best chow I've ever had. Oh. Why the heartfelt goodbye? Are you never seeing them again? That'd be pretty sad. Thanks for the joke, Tom, by the way. Yes! I got it working like it was kind of before, except for the stupid one right back here that's still showing a 3. I mean, did I move this one? Oh, weird that the origin one stays, but the other one, but afterwards it keeps moving. Funny. So you can see that even though these are moving around, these values are not changing. Then we need the source value should keep its index. Okay. And value index doesn't get set either. Okay. So we have these are none of them are being changed, are they? No. No, they're not being changed. Oh, I missed it. Whoa, Stoff, you were fast. You were on top of it. What even happened there? I wanted some follows. Or was it something where I could buy friends? I'll accept either. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Da, 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 da. Okay, so my only thought is that well, it seems to be moving it because it's moving the value, but it's still printing the index. I don't know. I'll worry about it later. It's getting too late. This is supposed to be a work night. I'm feeling pretty slow tonight, but you know, you got to pull my weight. I mean, you know, I'm glad you're finally earning all the money I'm making. I appreciate that you have finally decided to perform some duties that are required of you given our contractual agreement. That does not exist. There is no contract between us that says there's any money that we share. But you have a contract with my heart. Thank you for your support. Coding with strangers? Jitspo? We haven't seen Jitspo in a bit. We'll go pop over to Jitspo. Alright, y'alls. Maybe I'll have more to show that's more interesting. I do want to get the battle stuff working. It's just, you know. If anyone wants to drop any hypes, there you go. We're gonna go do the rainy raid. I'll be back on Saturday, and y'all have a lovely rest of your week. Bye.